Hello! In this video I'm going to go over what's expected for your creative personal response, explain a couple of things. This is your last written, this is the last assignment for this semester, and I'm giving it to you ahead of time, okay? It's due on June 12th, but it will not take you 2 weeks to work on this. This is something in class, you would get 45 minutes to write this. So honestly, do yourself a favor. Get it done, get it handed in ahead of time, and then you don't have to worry. You're done the assignments for this class. That doesn't mean there's not going to be any more instruction. We do have to give a little bit of instruction in that last week, but there will be no more work, okay? So if you can get this done before the 12th, then you're home free in terms of anything to hand in. And then you also have a little bit of extra time to catch up if you're missing anything, because a lot of you are still missing assignments. That is going to be a 0 on your PowerSchool if you don't get it handed in. Okay, anyways, I'm going to go over this assignment with you to hopefully help clarify any questions you might have. So, you remember at the beginning of the semester, the first piece we wrote was a personal essay. And I said, please don't write me a story unless you know you're a good writer. And that is the advice we tend to give to students because it's hard to write a good creative piece. That being said, the only way to get better at it is to practice. So for this personal essay, I'm asking all of you to write something creative. There are so many different creative formats you can choose from. So to simplify it, I'm giving you 3. Write me a journal entry, not like a single journal entry, but you know, like a series of them. You can write a speech, or you can write a short story. A short story can be like a personal reflection even. And if you have a different idea of a creative format that you really, really want to do, just send me an email. I'm sure it will be fine, as long as it's not a poem. Remember, we talked about at the beginning of the year that for personal essay on your diploma, you can answer in any format you want except a poem. You can even write an essay, which is what a lot of you did for our first personal essay. A lot of you wrote an essay and they were awesome, they were well done. A few of you wrote creative responses and they were really well done, but for this one, everyone is going to write a creative piece. So just have fun with it. Don't stress too much about this because, to be perfectly honest, it's not going to change your mark at this point. The grade you're at is the grade you're going to stay at, okay? This might fluctuate your percentage by maybe 1, at most 2%. So don't overwhelm yourself with this, okay? Just have fun being creative. There's not a lot of weight put on to this assignment. So, you're going to choose one of those formats. The hardest thing for students to wrap their mind around is, okay, well, if I'm not writing an essay for my personal and I choose to write a creative, I still have to take evidence from the text. How do I do that? How do I use Henry IV in a personal diary entry? And that's what I'm going to explain to you. So, here's what you don't want to do. This is what a lot of students do, and it's the worst thing you could do. Is something like, Dear Diary, today I was challenged, remember, because your topic is about how individuals respond to particular challenges, so it still has to be connected to the topic. So this is what you don't want to do. Dear Diary, today I was challenged with the decision to confront my best friend on something she did that made me upset. Blah, 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 blah. You go on to your journal entry. I had no idea what to do. I was distraught. I was ridden with anxiety. But then I went to English class and I watched my teacher's videos on Henry, and it sparked something within me. And now I know exactly how it is that I'm going to deal with this problem. That's what you don't want to do, okay? You don't want to have to take specific evidence, as in like, you don't need to quote the text. You don't even need to talk about Falstaff, Henry, Harry. You don't need to directly relate to the text. What you want to do, and this is what I'm going to write, some little notes for you, you want to create a parallel situation to one of the characters that we've studied. Probably Hotspur or Hal, okay? In this case, Hal or Hotspur. What do I mean by creating a parallel situation? Well, think of the things that Hal has gone through in this text. He's had to deal with a pretty rough father-son dynamic. Okay, so he's had to prove himself. That's one situation. Feeling the need to prove yourself to a parent. Right there, you've created a parallel situation, something that you yourself can probably relate to, and something that Hal has experienced in the text. So in that way, if you want to write me a speech, a short story, or a journal entry about a time when you felt the need, you felt required to prove yourself, or you felt misunderstood. That's another good one. Being misunderstood. You're still relating to the text because you're talking about something that you've experienced that Hal has also experienced. And you don't need to say, similar to the character Prince Harry that we studied in English 10-1 class from Henry IV Part 1, I too felt misunderstood by my father. You don't have to go there. Just give me your creative response, okay? I'll understand the parallel situation. In this way, you are you're tipping your hat to the text without having to directly talk about it. So it's going to be a lot more authentic, a lot less cliche, and it's going to sound a lot better. So hopefully that helps clarify a little bit how what we mean when we say you still need to use evidence, or you still need to connect to the topic without using actual direct evidence and quotes and everything, which you would do if you chose to write an essay. You would have to use quotes and specific points from the text, but for a creative response, you do not have to. Just create a parallel situation. It's the most authentic way to connect to the text while still talking about the topic. So the last thing I wanted to talk about then is there's a bunch of different ways you guys can connect to this text. So here are a couple that I wrote for you already. But let's think of a few more together. So feeling the need to prove yourself to a parent, that's obviously, we're talking about Prince Harry there. Being misunderstood, again, that would be Prince Harry. But he's not the only character you could connect to. Maybe you find yourself more as a Hotspur, and sometimes you act before thinking. So maybe you want to write a creative response about something like that, about acting before thinking, getting yourself into dicey situations. You can take it however you want, okay? These are just very general ideas. You're going to want to make them more specific in your text and to your own personal experience. Maybe you connect with King Henry, and maybe people have really disappointed you in your life. So maybe you want to connect to the idea of being disappointed by family or having high expectations. Those around you. Okay, so those are just a couple. It's not all. If you find a good way to connect to Falstaff, go for it. Proceed with caution for that one. But that's hopefully going to give you a little bit of a jumping point for you to start thinking about ideas, how you're going to create a parallel situation between your own experience and the book. And also remember, you can make stuff up. I don't know your personal life. So if you want to completely make up a fictional short story, by all means, that is totally up to you. That's your prerogative. No more than 2 pages, please, single-spaced. This is supposed to be shorter than a chronological essay. Even if you give me 1 full page single, or sorry, 1.5 full pages single spaced, that's good. What else did I want to go over? Oh yeah, remember, creating the link to the text is one thing, but you still have to be connected to the topic the whole time. How do you do that? Well, your topic is about, you're talking about the different ways that individuals respond to particular challenges. So let's say you're talking about being misunderstood. Well, that would be your challenge. Okay, so you just have to use that language, that being misunderstood is a personal challenge that your character or you yourself have gone through. You just need to make that connection clear. So there's 2 connections you need to make. You need to make a connection to the text, to one of the characters, to create a parallel situation, but then you also need to connect to the topic that you are given. Okay? And that's it. Again, like I said, just have fun with this. Don't let this be a source of stress or anxiety. Just think of it as an opportunity to be creative in a class where we unfortunately have to focus a lot on critical analytical. So I hope this is fun for you guys. It's the last thing you have to do. Get it done. I feel like I need to disclaim that. When I say this is the last thing you have to do, it's the last assignment, doesn't mean there won't be like a final little quiz for Act 5, okay? So don't just think that, oh, once I hand this in, I'm done, I'm not checking Canvas anymore, like past 10-1. No, still check. There might be a couple little things that I'm asking you to do, but this is the last big assignment. That's it. I'm also going to post a couple examples of creative responses that students have done on diplomas in the past, just so that you can get a couple more ideas. Alright, if you have any other questions about this, just send me an email or come to my office hours. Goodbye.